Welcome to the Intuition Hour with Katt Nicholson, where our wonderful host Katt encourages each and every one of you to build your own intuition, navigate your own connection with spirit, and tap into the deep beauty within yourself. Enjoy the Intuition Hour with Katt Nicholson.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Good morning and welcome to the Intuition Hour. I am your host, Katt Nicholson. I am so excited to be with all of you today on this October 13th, 2025. It is 12:03 p.m. here in Central Florida. On this bright and sunny day. I'm so excited to breathe this sigh of relief. As I had mentioned to a few friends yesterday that I was freezing. It was like 73 and I was cold, and it was very funny. I had to get my long sleeve sweatshirt on, and people think you're crazy, but it's very, very true. It's a significant change for us. So I'm happy to say summer has ended, and it makes me super excited, and there's a lot of energy floating around. I love the planetary changes that I'm sure Mark Husson talked to all of you about earlier. And I too am excited about Pluto's direct motion. I'm also excited about the Libra energy. I do believe Terry Campbell's in the chat room. C.A. Brooks is here this morning. Our happy astrologers are with us. Good morning. I also believe that Venus is going into Libra, or went into Libra earlier today. Or you can correct me on that. I try to tap into these things intuitively, but I definitely love to take it all on. I feel a lot of flashes visually. Sometimes we go through our phases, and I want to say good morning to everyone coming in. I want to thank Serena for her beautiful graphics every week. I am definitely getting more comfortable with you guys here on YouTube. If you are here for the first time, I would really appreciate it if you can come on in and subscribe to the channel. We will be expanding on it through the year. I also want to say that I have been, I went away, and I didn't say much about it last week because I think I was still so relieved to be home. And sometimes we think, and this image reminds me of talking about certain things about the grass being greener on the other side, and then we realize it's okay to just be who we are and be with how it is, how things are, and complacency sometimes is comfortable, and at the same time, yes, I know it's dangerous to be complacent in certain ways, but when we have that as intuitives, as empaths, as healers, as people who are more closely connected in that way, whether it be emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, all of these things tied together, as we go forward, I think that it's important to remind ourselves that it's okay to be hypersensitive to certain conditions, certain environments. I'm definitely raising my hand no matter what. I love that you are all here. I want to say good morning to a few of you, all of you being empaths. And Keisha Angel is in the room today. Good morning, Keisha. So excited that you're here. Jean and Pamela and Becca. Lara, hello. Tara and Catherine, happy birthday +1 day to you. Carla and Patty, Kelly, Lynn, Suzanne. Now, my beautiful godson is in the room this morning, and I definitely want to say hi to his dads, and I also want to say hi to Tommy, who is visiting from Seattle. I'm sure that's a culture shock for you, Tommy, no doubt. And I do hope you have fun with the guys, and I hope you guys are all, enjoying each other's company and stuff. I definitely love that. I feel sometimes the more we live in truth, the more challenging it can be. I think remembering these things, I always look at, of course, we all look at the Venus energy at this time, the Libra ruled. I can't believe we're flying through this Libra cycle like faster than, I think as the year went on, it's moving faster and faster. Obviously, we're already entering those holiday moments, and I know all the Halloween hype and exciting things, and I have everything pumpkin in my house, including the Dawn dish soap, which I'm thrilled about. My poor husband, I have pumpkin everywhere, and it's only a temporary thing. Everything but pumpkin pie here. So, it's funny because we kind of get in the groove, and as sensitive as we are, sometimes we get a little extreme in the groove. And I don't know if any of you feel this way, but it's just like I'm talking about the grass not being greener on the other side and being okay in your own space and accepting that. Acceptance is key, right? I think the more we accept certain things about our sensitivity, the better. And I say because I'm joining you all this morning in that sensitivity, because I do think our sensitivity brings extreme patterns. And I don't mean that in any kind of negative way. I just mean that in a sense that when we have when we have sensitivity psychically, and I know many of you will feel this way, when you have that empathic connection to maybe God, the universe, your higher power, whatever that is, to you, because of your spiritual connection. I think the other day, when I was sitting in church, the pastor said something very loud and clear. He said, your vertical connection with God is actually a vertical connection. But then as it extends out to others, and you becoming one with that, and you becoming connected to that energy, whatever that may be, then you have, from that place, that vertical connection, then you have that horizontal connection with everyone else. That it made so much sense, the connecting piece of that. And I feel very strongly that we are learning how to be okay as empaths, how to be okay with ourselves, and how to be even better with others, along the way. But our extreme patterns, or perhaps just like with you guys and your Halloween fun and everything like that. And I think that you might take it to the extreme. Who takes Halloween to the extreme? Who takes the holidays to the extreme? These kinds of things. This is all because of your sensitivity, really. Because when you have a tiny bit of passion for something, and you're going to run all the way with it. And I believe that we forget that some people, and do you ever look around and say, and I find myself doing this, and I'm sure you do as well. Do you ever look around and say, I'm not sure everyone is getting me right now, and I'm not sure I really fit in here. Or I mean, do you feel like people are sitting here scratching your head? Or do you feel like you're on your own island, even in a group of others, and you're feeling this? I do believe wholeheartedly that when we connect, we deeply connect. I think we're looking for things or other things to connect to, but whether it be people, places, things. We have our vertical connection. Tara just said that she was in church yesterday and she was singing and she sent out all the energy to everyone in all directions. But it's very true. Your vertical connection with your own spirit, like even if whatever that higher power means to you, even if it's your guides, your angels, your loved ones, your whatever it may be, that is your business with your God, however that comes through. And if we believe there is something that's threading us all together, and we look at that maybe like the Holy Spirit energy that's tying us all together, I think that vertical, and like Tara said, that the singing in church that she sent out in all directions of time and place. Well, when we have all these directions going on, because we're empaths and we're giving it out, and we're, seeing everything going on around us, and we have the sensitivity, I think it's deeply true that we do things to the extreme because we feel a certain way, or we feel more deeply, or we think more deeply, and we connect more deeply. So other people around us may go, well, wait a minute, what, why does this person have like Halloween lights, or why does this person have the simplest, whatever you think would be simple, somebody else may think is not simple, this kind of thing. Or our thoughts and things become deeper and more intertwined. And I think that you'll learn this over time as an empath and a sensitive person, that especially those of you who heal by thought, heal by prayer, heal by acknowledgement of something, it's acceptance is key. Suzanne says she felt like a sense of not fitting in or being understood most of her life. And I see healing hands for you too. I feel this, and I feel part of this energy is what almost keeps us safe or protected. And at the same time, we really are in some way fitting in. I think if we decide to fit in from a vertical point of view and then extending it horizontally, I think there's something that, to me, there was something empowering about that, only because I felt like, okay, if I take it through to a healing place and I look at life as maybe you're kind of walking around, you have this protective pyramid around you. And some of you have worked with me before with pyramid protection and everything else, so nobody can get into your headspace. I feel confident that, and then as you come down in your pyramid, your base is bigger and broader, and you can connect with people on maybe a more physical level, but you don't let anybody interfere with your thinking, your vision, your emotional body. You have enough space in that pyramid for love in your heart center, but you don't have anything really upstairs because you want to protect your thoughts. Your thoughts become things over and over again, and don't forget that. And so I think that because you have this, Suzanne, that sense, I think everybody, the so-called black sheeps or whatever, I think it takes a lot to understand that you're just really on another level of the spiritual maybe elevator. And we talk about having our own spiritual hotels where we can go from floor to floor to floor to floor, and we want to climb into that. And sometimes we have to realize some people don't really even get off the 5th floor, or they don't get off out of the basement, or we have negative people in our lives, or toxicity, or whatever that toxic energy is. We can kind of keep it down there in the basement. And I think that with this, with what I'm saying now is, you can kind of spread a little more acceptance, spread a little more joy. I think the Libra energy, the Venus in Libra, the Pluto going direct in Aquarius, I think a little bit of that energy is going to be uplifting. I think it's going to bring lightness. I feel it already lifting. I don't know if you guys can yet, but typically Aries moon children will feel it, and jump on it, and then everybody follows. And I feel that. I think the energy is going to lighten up if it hasn't already, and you will be feeling it. I want to say good morning. I'm going to come and start taking your questions in the chat room, and anyone else. Here's another thing. And I don't want to sweep this under the carpet either, but I also want you to know that you're being heard and seen. I feel I'm sorry for everyone's losses. I know we talk about, and look, this is like God's work, birth, death. We really honor that, and we try not to. There's sometimes no sense in what happens, and we have to really feel that. And that's where we go into our faith and our hope and our trust that there is something bigger and better, and really learning how to accept and surrender is really difficult during these times. And so I want to acknowledge, Pamela, I'm sorry about the passing of your brother. I will definitely talk to you today. And also Laura and her husband, they lost a very, very dear friend. And this is what I'm saying about things not making sense. She says any and all healing prayers are welcome. their friend Mark had passed away last night, and his wife is in the hospital awaiting a double lung transplant, and that's like crazy. I mean, honestly, when you scratch your head and think about the whys, we don't even have an answer. Like Steve always tells me, when your time is up, it's up, and it's true because we don't have an explanation for these things. But my healing prayers are with you guys, and I'm super sorry for your loss. On a good note, you did get support on the car, but you see the extreme differences in what we're dealing with. And as humans, whether I think I had a conversation years ago with I'm sure it was Mark, whether we are stubbing our toe or someone is passing away in those moments. Like somebody said to me the other day, oh, and I hear this often, I don't really have a lot to complain about, Katt. This is like, third world issue and blah, 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 or first world issue, whatever it was, the comment. And, in the moment when we're going through grief or strife or challenge as a human, in any situation, it matters in that moment. So we don't want to downplay anything. Of course, life and death, there's nothing more painful in so many ways. But at the same time, we want to acknowledge the small things that occur day to day because it all adds up to one big life that we have to, thrive and survive and find joy and peace in. And so I believe that connecting again, I think welcoming more connection now that it got a little weird, before Pluto went direct, or it's going direct today. I'm sure it all started to feel a little foggy, and there's a lot going on in the world, guys. So we have to take the collective and into consideration with everything we do. But remember, it all goes back to that vertical relationship first. And that vertical relationship has a lot of offshoots, and it can really, really send horizontally to everyone in your lives. And even if you're meant to be that vertical post, even if you are designed to be that, and you guys are all so wonderful to each other, and I appreciate and respect that. We have to remember in just a week or so, maybe 9, not long, we're in that third, we're coming up to the Scorpio cycle. And so we know the veil gets thinner, we acknowledge it, and we're going to see a lot of these things occur. Sometimes do you ever have gratitude or relief for someone's passing? It's such a mixed bag of emotions that occur. And yeah, she says he's free and no longer suffering. She's happy for him. This is exactly what I was thinking. I definitely feel sometimes we have to be at peace knowing that they are okay and they're where God intended them to be, or whatever they're, like Steve said, we have a number or whatever. So Aquarius rising, but the truth. There are some things that are better off, like, and we have that sense of relief, or we have a sense of joy. How many of you, our condolences to everyone who has gone through loss this week. And I'm so happy you're all back with me today. I'm so grateful. Crystal, I see you, and Rebecca Quelly, all of you. Truly, I'm so glad that you're here. I feel like I'm missing someone, and if I am, I will find you. And I'm just really, really happy that you're here. Carla, I know I mentioned you earlier. Who has a question for me first? I definitely want to come in the room now. And it's, I feel as much and as difficult as it is that we have to talk about these things. We also get to experience gratitude and acceptance of where we are. And I absolutely love that we can, Crystal just said a really important thing, amend. When we want to amend or correct certain things, I love that word. And she says she's hoping that do you see me reconnecting with my ex? And as I was just hoping that we could have amended things peacefully. Let's take a look at that. And sometimes there are moments, Crystal, and I do think this is going to happen already intuitively. I have a flash of this. But sometimes when we talk about the vertical connection with God, we have to make it okay with that. No matter what happens on the other side, how many of you have unresolved questions, doubts, or I think the Libra energy is so good to discuss relationships with others because and especially Venus going into Libra. I mean, we have a little bit of love going on. Like we can spread more, we can share more, we can open them more, we can receive more, we can give more. This is the time to do it, right? And then just in time for the shift of the Scorpio energy, where we're going to learn to try to forgive or let go of some grudges. But you see, it's all synchronized in divine order, no matter what we say. Spirit knows what it's doing. I definitely want to look at Crystal first, and let's take a peek. I could tell I've been talking too much already. We're just about halfway, so. All right, here we go. Let's take some questions. Now, Crystal, I'm going to take a look. Now, you know what's first and foremost in my mind, and when we have activation of sight, I think it's sometimes we have activation of hearing. How many of you go through these changes or altering gifts one at a time? Or you have this hearing going on and then suddenly you see a flash in your vision, or you just know in yourselves. Like, do you go through these? I try to, I love to connect like all of these responses in our being and really go towards what's strong, because obviously that's the strongest message when we're really in tune. And again, that vertical connection, when we really stay into that space, and I'm having flashes and hearing going on for you. So I want to just take a little look. Yes, I have November in my mind. And then at the same time, I think you have a lot of anxiety, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Crystal, but talk about letting go of certain things. Like, you want that peaceful connection. I believe with some people, and I can't stress this enough, and I know many of you have experienced, when someone is broken, it's not our job to fix them. When there are people in the world that don't want to, I say self-correct, but of course sometimes it takes an army, who don't want to do the work, it is very difficult to find a peaceful end with that other person, because there's going to be something that maybe can trigger that person to leave you feeling a certain way. And I know this is very hard to explain, and yet it's not, because it's black and white. If you're doing work on yourself, which I know you are, Crystal, but your ex may not be, I think it's going to come back to a little bit of the same question, because maybe the seeds that are planted becomes that same question. And I hope I make sense when I say that, because that's what I feel. And so I want to encourage you wholeheartedly. Actually, you are going to go through another phase. You're going to reconnect. There is another phase or a cycle, so call it. And there will be something. I see a lot of water energy. Now, I don't know if I see a man and a woman, and I see water signs and coming together, and I see a blessing out of the blue. If you could tell me your ex's date of birth, I'll tell you if I think this is him in the future, or if you're going to move on in a healthier situation with someone who is divinely meant to be. I know you're doing work. I'm sorry you're anxious. It's okay. Because sometimes we can't get resolution on the external. We have to get it within. And okay, good. That's a good sign. He is the water sign. I like that. Very good. So here's what I feel. I think you're going to come together. She's a water sign too. I love it. This is what's going to occur. You're going to come together. You're going to come apart. And you're going to come together again. And I can't say it any other way. But what I want to say is a letting go and surrendering of certain things if you want to come back together and stick with it. There is some brokenness on the other side as well, but you have a lot of guilt that you shouldn't be carrying, and I feel very deeply about this. And you are a water. I saw the water sign male, the water sign female coming together, which is the two of you, but there is a new beginning, but there has to be a letting go in order to make it work again if that's what you want to do. I can't dictate that. No one on this planet can dictate what you have together, but I see a journey, and both of you have to surrender and let go in order to make it happen. I also believe that this is very, very healthy and healing the way it's going to be done. So keep doing your work, okay? I think he has to do some work. So let's see what he does. I have hope, and I definitely see that you are undergoing a test of faith. You are undergoing a test of resolve. And I want you to be okay with what happened. And you have to release a lot of question marks around yourself, because sometimes we're dealing and connecting with someone who's broken. He does have a lot, I could tell. And sometimes we're taking the blame for something someone else is actually carrying. So they're projecting a lot of what that is. And please, none of you forget that. We always jump the gun and we have a lot of guilt. What if I did this? What if I fixed it this way? What if I corrected this? What if I shut my mouth? What if I didn't talk? What if I didn't complain? What if? No, would have, could have, should have. And I love that you're saying you're not perfect. None of us are perfect. I do have hope for a turnaround here, but I also think that you have to allow him time to do some more work, okay? At the end of the day, I see a blessing coming for you out of the blue. It is a water sign male. I do see the very beginning of what becomes a highly spiritual and long-term union, and that's really what you're going to wind up with, okay? You have to let go and let God, and I mean that more than ever. And I do believe when you guys are questioning yourselves that much in relationship, then you have to have that knowing. If you're saying you're doing the best you can today, and it still feels difficult, sad, anxious. That anxiety is key in every situation. When you have anxiousness in a relationship, you have to second guess it. And that's when you start asking yourself questions. What am I doing to contribute to this? How can I make this better? How can I fix it? How can I fix me to be better for us? That kind of thing. That's the Libra energy, fair and balanced at all times. And when I say at all times, sometimes you have to give a little more, sometimes you get to give a little less, this kind of thing. I love that your husbands are here with you all today. I know it is a holiday here in the US for most of us. I have noticed some schools are open though. Banks closed, schools open. I've noticed some are celebrating or honoring the day and some are not. And I'm glad you're all. And happy Thanksgiving to you, Tara. And I'm glad you're all listening together. Husbands, good morning. Thanks for being here with your wives and supporting the cause and also supporting their spiritual growth and their process. I love that. I'm open to any questions from any of you. Lots and lots of condolences going on today in the room. And I love that you're also appreciative. You value each other so, so much. It makes me so incredibly happy and proud and honored to be a part of your group. And I love that as well. Let's take a look at who's next. Tara, I'm glad that you're sharing a tiny bit of that cooler energy there. Trust me, we need it. You know, guys, I want to say something. Rebecca just said she honors the losses of everyone. And, you know, everyone is feeling Diane Keaton's death as well. So we have that. And there have been a few others. And, you know, again, what it does for myself, and I'm sure for you as well, it just triggers me to go back to a place of gratitude. I was thinking also, and now we're on the topic, but I want to try to move through it. And after 26 years, my father will be gone this month, 26 years, and I'm realizing he was my age when he passed. And I looked back at his life and I thought to myself, you know, when you get to that place that you're all right with it, that you know you have lived as much as you can live. And I never understood this coming from him at the young age of 59 when he was going to pass. You know, when he said to me, it's okay, I lived 3 lifetimes in one. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I accept it. And you know, I really honor and understood and now understand even more so what he meant by that. So living each day to the fullest, looking at that blue sky, cherishing that blue sky. If you're having a bad moment and you're in a situation and you feel stuck and you have to give it up, you know, you have to go to God with it, or you have to go to what your higher power is with it. And really remember, if you just take that moment of strife and look at the blue sky or look at the sunshine, any one thing that brings you comfort or gratitude. I think gratitude is key. When we embrace that, I think we have it down, you know? And so please, I encourage it from all of you. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh the room. I want to see who, I feel like I'm ready for another question, but I don't want you to forget. Sometimes people do things to us and we're just like shaking our heads like, why, you know? But coming out of that victim mentality, really understanding it's about them, not you. These are all the things we have to remind ourselves of every single day. And honestly, Quelly just said something important. She said that she just got back from being asked to have lunch with a coworker. And it was awkward, but she pushed herself. And so some of the connection, our sensitivity, again, how do you feel about pushing yourself, you know? How are you now? And I think that sometimes it's monumental. I think sometimes when I have to go meet someone new or do something different, or I have to push myself too. And the anxiety, I think, is like learning how to overcome. I think it's so great too. Lara, you're so kind and so on top of things. I'm going to talk to you in a second, but it's so interesting that just to overcome certain things, as simple as a meeting with one other person, as simple as a conversation. It is harder for sensitives to have to overcome these things, you know? And I'm laughing because sometimes people, I think we're done pointing at this place in our lives, and we're definitely more about reflecting. And if we could reflect or step back and reflect without going into victimhood, which I'm seeing many of you grow through so much, and I love it. And I really do believe that. I know you're all wise at this point, you know? So it's really good. Now let me see something about Rebecca. She says, I did move to Arizona. You are out. That's great. Now she's looking for a job and it's been hard. I'm definitely going to take a look now. Okay, Rebecca. And then if I said I was going to, Lara, I'm going to talk to you too next. And I can tell we have happy husbands here if they're supporting their partners like that and really tuning in. I absolutely love that support you guys are getting. Let me just take a look. Let's give Rebecca a peek at a job. Well, I see a major breakthrough. Actually, I feel like you have been waiting, and I really do see something more generous. And I feel a blessing coming to you as well out of the blue. I do think it's going to be soon because it's showing. I think you're. Look, I think there's a reason this is happening. I think there's a more generous offer coming. I know you're looking out of state, but something for now tells me it's going to be where you are. Or remote of some sort. Have you been looking at remote work? I do feel it may take a tiny bit longer. I am getting a lot of 4s and 6s now. I also get the spirit of generosity. I don't know what you're actually going out for, but when I get the 6 of Pentacles, I look at the spirit of generosity, and I also look at like a charity or I want to something like this, a charitable organization, a nonprofit organization, this kind of thing. And I really feel good about that. So I don't know what you're looking at, but right now I'm not sensing you're going to move again out of your state. I think I think you wanted to be there for a long time and you're there. So I want to leave it at that. I feel like you're on the right track. Any disappointments are now in the past. They moved to the past. It's really going in the right direction, and I feel good about that, okay? And you come back and let us know. I know you're going to be better than ever. And I also see an unexpected, like a miraculous turnaround, I want to say. And you let me know, okay? In every way, shape, and form. Feel like a job is coming. You know what I feel? I think it's taken some time, Rebecca, because it's supposed to be a more generous offer also when I get that 6 of Pentacles. But your intuition is also telling you something, and I want to know if you can share what it is, because you're also going to be validated for something you've known for a while. So come back and share and let us know, okay? Lara said that when she has to push herself out of her comfort zone, she makes sure she does something soothing when she gets home. I love that idea. Follow it up with some kind of little personal reward system. I like that. And she says it's hard for her to leave the house. I have been a little bit of a stickler about leaving since I went on vacation because I felt a little traumatized myself. So it's very Virgo rising of me to stay close to the house. I don't, I have no intention on I don't even know what the word vacation means right now, but I'm on vacation right here every day. So that's how it's going to stay. But I'm teasing, and I'm not. I think you understand. It's a safe zone, That's good. I get in the groove, happy here. And I think that's a good thing. Okay. I mean, I can even pick apart somebody's steps. Like, oh, these steps are different height, and I'm used to stepping on something. Like, it's ridiculous. Anything that's comfortable, and I like that. All right, now it's what we get in a groove, we get used to a certain way. I think it's okay to accept and be cool with it, and not feel like you're not missing out on anything else. I can't stress that enough right now. All right, let me see. I feel like I'm missing someone who. Oh, Lara did say that her money is flowing better. Thankfully, I figured it would be. Thank goodness. And I also see a Wheel of Fortune. You have more luck coming and another position. So you have the universe is definitely telling you, she says it's telling her to let go as it provides. You are definitely going to be provided for in every way. And I do see something more solid coming. So just keep doing what you're doing, and it works. It definitely works. Who asked me a question? I feel a lot of, sometimes when the environment gets lighter, we actually can strengthen easier because we don't have a lot of doubt or negativity and that's blocking us in some way. So I feel a lot of this coming up. I feel a strengthening of your knowing and your faith, and this is for all of you in this moment. I feel like a new beginning is going to happen only because of letting go. And I also believe that whatever tests, you guys have had a lot of tests this year, and you're going to overcome a lot of things coming into this end of year. I think will be rewarding to say the least. Yes, we have some retrogrades yet to come, as we always do year after year, and we can learn how to use them more and more to our advantage. So I love that. And I really feel that. So let's see what happens. Rebecca, this is interesting. I feel like you should, for some reason. I really think, and I'm thinking nonprofit. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's just like a tip or something. Again, going back to the spirit of generosity, that's why I'm equating to it. But you're going to have a position very soon. And when I say remote, I don't mean you're not going to travel to and fro, but I'm thinking Arizona as a base for a little bit longer is good. So let's just kind of keep your eye. Sometimes when something's under our nose, but we're looking over there, and I believe something's going to show, I feel that very strongly for you. And let's see what happens. I also feel like the universe is becoming more generous towards both of you, Lara and Rebecca. So I love that. But I don't know where this is coming from. It's going to mean something very soon, okay? All right, let me see. Katt, happy birthday to your baby, 15 months. I also love that. And let me look for Mary because she jumped at me this morning. Jane, I want to say good morning to you and your little cheerful spirit. I appreciate it. Hi, Randy. Thank you for joining. Now let me go look for Mary first. Hold on now. Sorry for your losses, Pamela and Laura. Mary sends her condolences, ladies. Do I see positive fall blessings? All right, let's take a look for herself or her sister, Katie. You know what's so strange? I'm seeing cornfields and I have no clue why. Now, I could look at the harvest of that, I suppose. But I am seeing corn, like literally corn on the cob, and I see the fields. I'm seeing this whole vision of this image of it. And let me take a look, okay? I would say that's a good sign. I also feel like getting into the, what do we think about when we think about the corn harvest, The Indians, the grounds, nature, the fields, getting out in open space, brings blessings and abundance. That's what I feel. Broaden your horizons, open yourselves up more. I'm just going to talk to both of you now. I feel very strongly about that. If you guys can take a trip or go hiking, I like that too, if it's feasible or possible. And I don't really necessarily feel water energy. I feel earth energy, all green, okay? Abundance. Hold on. I see land. And it's so interesting because I do feel blessings. I'm very strong about this, but I also believe there are new beginnings and a lot of you're both being protected from going in the wrong direction. I do see an abundant, you trip over something. Okay, you look for something for a long time, you never locate it, you finally let it go, it shows up. Same thing. I do feel this. It's like something you let go of maybe is going to spring back towards both of you. If you say you wanted something for a long time, this kind of thing. I genuinely feel this. So I also believe wholeheartedly that the harvest is coming, like the abundance, some kind of new beginning. I also feel birth of, I see baby, I see releasing doubt. I feel like, I'm not a medical doctor. I can't give medical advice, but I can say to get, it's good to keep up on your health, and there's blessings in that. And I love that. And I hope that makes sense, okay? But there's something that you may have let go of that's going to spring back and be a blessing. And I don't know what I mean, ladies. Mary, Katie, this is for you. And I feel something strange about the land or in the cornfields. Go figure. Are you? I don't know. I just want to leave it there. Something will make sense. But if you are behind on your checkups, make sure you deal with all that, because I don't think I'm not saying that to make you feel bad, or there's nothing negative coming through, but I do think that it's time for a little update, tune up, and you'll feel actually relieved and good that you get it done. Nothing else. Have a wonderful day. If you can get out in nature together, I think that would be great. Or apart. All right, let's take care of Catherine. Happy birthday to you. I do feel like you have been going through a letting go phase as well, and there's a lot of enlightenment coming your way. You do need rest. I see the sun. So when I see the sun, I always say check on your vitamin D, this kind of thing. But I also see the sun shining. So the more you can get in the sunshine, the better. Of course, be careful with your skin always. Disclaimer. But you're going through another awakening, and you're going to feel joy after this period. When we start using the word awakening, or we see a wake-up call of sorts or anything like this, when I hear that word awakening, I raise my eyebrow, because I'm like, what's gonna happen to bring the awakening? I always gotta dot my I's and cross my T's. I'm sure many of you do. Because what it usually means is we go through that darker tunnel to get to that awakening. And so in that tunnel, when we're in the tunnel and we can't see that light shining yet, we know it's yet to show. But in the meantime, what do we do to get there? And sometimes we have to I always look at it like one of those little tubes in the ground, whatever the heck they're called. When we had to crawl through the what the heck is it called? You guys know. It's like a little caterpillar tube. But when we're crawling through, what do we do? Remember to crawl. We can't run in the darn things because we can't really get up. It's still dark in the tunnel. We have to crawl through the tunnel. And so remember that. So be patient. you're going to have a light shine on you very, very soon. And I feel good about that. And so please come back and let us know. Okay. You're going to have some, I say, serious joy ahead after a long period of not so much. All right. So you come back and let us know. Also get outdoors again. I see more income. I know this is a time where our efforts we're nervous about our efforts because we feel like sometimes they're not paying off, especially in this world that we're living in. But I say don't lose sight of what you're here to do. First and foremost, the abundance will follow. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Mindy, I'm going to take a look. I'd love to know what you feel about me getting this apartment. Let's take a look. Patricia P., good morning to you. Thank you for joining. Here we go. I think ending a cycle and beginning a new one is definitely on the table. Mindy, I see a little block at first, and then I feel an opening. I think it's very, very important. It's just a matter of taking a chance. I know right now, sometimes we get, it's really all about what Mindy wants to do, to take that leap. That's what I feel like it's on the table for you. I do feel every time you get ready to take that leap, you may feel nervous. But I definitely feel like as soon as you want it, it's there for the taking. You definitely have to take a risk though. And I know that's challenging. So I'm not trying to push you off any edge or anything like that. I think you'll know when it's time. I feel a pulling back before it actually happens because you're going to get a little nervous. So it's coming. So remember what I'm telling you. One more pullback, a little, and I know you've been giving yourself to God and I know you've been back in church and I know you've been doing all this incredible spiritual growing and all of these things. And I think what happens is when we do this, we have to remember that we get that attack a little bit. You know what I mean? And so just remember that you will overcome that. So the fear is the attack is what I'm saying. And then you will overcome the fear and lead. It's like sliding into first base all over again. And that's what I really feel. Okay. So you go ahead and do that. Everyone, thank you so, so much for being with me today. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'm super grateful to be back over at 1-2-Listen, of course, daily. Saturdays are my new break time, so I'm definitely enjoying some of that. Every Saturday I've been taking a breather and I've been enjoying it. It keeps me really, really strong the rest of the week to be with you guys fully, and I love that. And I'm super grateful for Serena always, and all of you here. Take care. Have a wonderful week. And remember to embrace your lives, okay? Every single day, no matter what. And just bring in a little more joy. I think we're going to have a little more fun this week. It's been tough, but it's going to get better and better. So you guys take care. See you soon. Bye-bye now. Thank you.